being a good Godot citizen, so welcome citizens. I'm gonna try to explain what you can do to help the project and what you can do to, to be a good member of the society. Who am I? I'm Happy van Braam. I've been a Godot contributor since 2017. I'm a Godot Foundation board member. I'm the treasurer of the foundation, and I do Godot consultancy via my company, Prehensile Tales. So I've been around for a little bit now. What this talk is about, I'm going to explain a little bit about how Godot gets made, because I don't know about the people here, of course, but a lot of people seem to not entirely understand how Godot relates to other projects. Like, how is Godot different from Unity or Unreal as it comes to like how it gets created into the world? What does that mean for users? What is how it gets made? How does it affect what you can expect and how to do? And how can you help making sure that Godot keeps happening? So first of all, who makes Godot? Well, of course, there's a lot of companies that give money. There's individuals that make money, and we use some of that money to pay people. Companies pay developers to work on things. Like W4 pays people to work on console things. What's your company called now?
Complicated.
Ah.
Godot has a product. The company has a name, but someone else claims that.
Okay, whatever. The company that makes Godot pays for people to work on things that relate to Godot. GD Quest works on things. Gazamer, MyGen works on things. My company, etc. But still, a lot of the things that happen day to day is done by volunteers. And particularly the things that most people like day to day care about is still largely done by volunteers. And but I specifically talk about things like bug fixes, making sure that the less glamorous things work. Like none of us have like made an entire new UX for Godot for iPad, right? It's largely the volunteers that fix a lot of things. So how does Godot get made? So first of all, a whole bunch of people write code. Companies do, we do, whatever. Eventually, somebody reviews this code, and then it gets merged into the main branch. Then periodically, we make a development snapshot available. For instance, right now, you can download the Godot 4.8 Dev 1 snapshot, which is literally just a random point in time. But like, okay, we're just gonna see what we have now, right? Eventually, when enough time has passed and we feel that we have something that is a coherent whole, we start creating beta snapshots. A beta snapshot is where we think for the next version of Godot, this is what the features are going to be. They're maybe not all completely finished, they're maybe not all completely stable, but by the time we create the beta snapshots, we think this is the stuff that's going to be in this release. Yeah? Then we make RC, release candidate snapshots, and that is when we think, okay, we think this set of code is now good enough to be the next Godot. And ideally, in the ideal situation, we would make one release candidate snapshot to go, oh, it is in fact perfect, and then the release candidate becomes the actual release. That has never happened. It's always been at least 3 or 4 release candidate snapshots. And then that eventually turns into a release. It's mostly developers that test their own code. So if I create a optimization for something, it is mostly me that tests that code. If we're lucky, we get like developers, users testing a particular bit of code. But most of the time, it's just a developer that tests their own code. Of course, code gets reviewed, but codes mostly get reviewed for code quality, but not necessarily for functionality. We kind of assume that by the time you like make a PR, that you've at least tested that it does what you're supposed to do. And we're basically most looking, okay, did you not copy paste it from someone else? Did you not, do you use like the correct variable name styles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what you can do is test beta release. This is very important. If there's just one thing you take away from this entire presentation, download the beta releases and test them in your games. If something's broken, please let us know. when there's release candidate releases, definitely test those. Those are where we think we're done, and the only people at that point that can tell us we're not done are the people that are actually using it, right? So if we say, okay, this is release candidate 2, we think should be Godot 4.9, and you're like, oh, but my game doesn't work on this. Well, that's the time to tell us. But make a backup of your project first. So let me just show you this real quick. So this is does this work? Surely it does, yeah. So this is where you can download the various different releases. So you can see here, right now on July 6th, we have the 4.8 Dev 1 snapshot. Another, for the next thing, Twitter is not a bug tracker. So we've seen this a lot where people get extremely angry. Oh, this has been broken for like 5 releases now. Like this worked in 4.4 and it's broken now. And then you search for the bug tracker and nobody's told us about this, right? There's just this one person being incredibly angry on Twitter about this thing being broken for a while now. We do not have a social media team that checks to see if somebody's angry on Twitter about Godot. We will not know about it. Discord is also not a bug tracker. This is a thing we see a lot where people like get on Discord and start complaining about something not working to other volunteers. But the Discord is also not being monitored by developers, right? We don't know whether something is broken or not if somebody just talks about it on Discord. We do, however, have a bug tracker. And that is the bug tracker. I will show you that in a minute. So generally speaking, bugs get fixed by interested volunteers. And that is a very important thing to realize if you have a problem, is that other than for like maybe other products you're used to, generally speaking, the people that fix your bugs are doing it because they like fixing bugs. It's a strange affliction. I've also afflicted by that. I enjoy fixing a well-described bug. I think it's very satisfying. But we're not getting paid for it. Most of us are not getting paid for it. And to really try to ram home the point, we cannot fix bugs we don't know about. So one thing that's very important is make sure that your bugs are fun to fix. So make sure you actually give information that is useful. Like information like Godot crashes. There's really nothing much we can do about that. Godot doesn't work. We've seen people say that. It just doesn't work. Okay. And of course, the most fun one is like, in my game, the performance is awful. And I don't know what your game is. Right? So when you make a bug report, make sure that you include as much information as you can on your system, which we're actually trying to do. The faster I can figure out what's wrong and actually make it also wrong on my computer, the faster I can fix it, and that's when the fun part starts, for me at least, and for the most people to do this kind of thing. If we have to spend like a day even working out what is even wrong, then most of the time, like people will move on to the next thing. Like we have 15,000 open bugs. It's a target-rich environment. So if I have to spend 2 hours figuring out what your problem even is, I could have been fixing 5 other things instead. And so make sure that you also sort of stick around. So if if somebody's trying to fix your bug and has a question, it is good if you don't spend, like if you not disappear for 3 weeks while no answer comes. So this is a better way of saying it. So here we explain what the actual problem is, gives a very clear explanation of what goes wrong and how to fix and how to reproduce it. So I want to quickly show you that it's actually quite easy to create a bug report on Godot. How many of you have used GitHub before? That is basically everyone. So this is probably not that useful. Let me just quickly, oh, it's going to be even shorter then. Let me just quickly show you one thing. So Godot makes use of several features of GitHub now, so we can kind of streamline the process of creating bugs and for us to read it. And the most important one is here, the bug report one, where we have quite a extensive form now with information that you can fill out. The more information you fill out, the higher the chance of it actually getting fixed and getting fixed in a somewhat timely manner. The most important thing I can tell you is about the tested versions thing. That is like super useful information for us. So if you have a problem that only started in like 4.6, but you're reporting it now 4.7, but you know it wasn't a problem 4.5, for instance, that is super useful information for anyone trying to fix anything. Of course, if the problem has always existed, that is always also super useful to know. Of course, if you don't know, you don't know, but like the more information, the better. Well, I'll just skip the actual creation of an issue then, because I think everyone knows how that works, generally speaking. Make sure you stay involved. So if you create an issue on the bug tracker, make sure that you monitor it, see if people actually commented, ask you questions. Anything you can do to sort of like streamline the process is great. How many of you know how to build the engine from source? That's fewer. Okay, that's good. So this is I can show something useful then. So most people think that if you file a bug report and somebody tried to fix it, or even like a new feature that somebody else is developing that you're interested in, that you either have to know how to build the engine, how to be like a quote-unquote real developer in order to like step in early and like help, or you have to wait for the next beta release or whatever to see how it is. You don't need to do that because we do automatic builds for every pull request that gets made. So I'm going to pick a random pull request here because apparently I forgot to open the tabs that I was going to. So here, for instance, this is a pull request, a fix unrecognized UID error. Say that you are afflicted by this problem. What you can do is if you scroll down, you have the checks passed, and you see here per platform a bunch of tests that are happening. So if you're a Windows user, you could go to the Windows editor, check here, and scroll down here to upload artifact. And here you will see a URL. And if you click here, a Windows editor.zip is downloaded in this case, which it contains the code for that pull request. So if that pull request fixes a bug that you've reported, you can directly test to see if it actually fixes your bug. And it is super useful for the submitter as well. If you could like reply to that pull request, say, okay, yeah, I submitted the bug, I can confirm that this fixes it. This is super easy. Everyone can do this. You don't need to be a C++ developer to do this. Very easy, very useful for us to know whether or not we should even merge something, right?
Question, who is hosting the machines that do this?
This is all GitHub.
So this is using GitHub's runners?
Yes. So the builds are not 100% identical to the real releases. Like they're not signed, and so it's a little bit more of a hassle, but it is certainly a lot less of a hassle than building it yourself from source. Okay. Yeah, and Microsoft actually sponsors like a lot of GitHub minutes for us because we do these full builds of the engine like tens of times a day, and we get like a little form at the end of the month, I believe, that Microsoft says we have not charged you like $50,000. Like, excellent. So that's really quite generous of them. It is very expensive. We would not be doing it if we had to pay for it. I can tell you that. But it is but like for stuff like this, it is very useful for us and for the community as a whole. All right, I just showed this. Another easy way for you to get involved is helping people just around. So if you're a Godot user, I can guarantee you there is something you know how to do better than someone else. Because there's always, because if you've been using Godot for a day, there's going to be someone who's been using Godot for an hour. If you've been using Godot for a month, there's going to be someone who's been using it for a week. There is something you can help someone with if you want. So these are our primary methods of doing so. We have the forums, the Discord, so this is a chat system, and Reddit. I'm personally never on Reddit, but I hear people use that, so I put it on here. We have, if none of this is to your liking, on the Godot engine website itself, we also have the community page. And here we have some more links to some other things if you want to find another place to contribute. Another thing you can do is if you're a C or C++ developer or want to be a C or C++ developer, you can join a contributor chat that is a more closed chat system where you have to sign up for, so we have like a little bit of a barrier of entry there. You can talk to existing developers, talk about plans you have. If you want to know, okay, what is a good place to start, like a good issue to get started with, that's a place you can go, and we can help you there, figuring out where you can start. And of course, the final thing you can do is give us money. If you have money, we would like some, please. Yeah, I think that is it. Because again, I thought I was having a 25-minute slot, and it's a 50-minute slot, so this is all I've got. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, please.
Do you ever get bugs and then you read it and you're like, it's more of a usability issue, or is there like, does that ever happen where you're like, I'm not sure if this is a bug or?
So the question is, do you ever get bugs that you're not sure are bugs? Yeah, like all the time. Like there's quite frequently where people say, oh, I do this and this and this, and I expect that. And sometimes they're like, but that's not reasonable to expect. Sometimes we then look at the documentation, it's like, oh, yeah, if you read the documentation, that's entirely reasonable to expect. So sometimes things that look like functionality bugs are actually just documentation bugs. Sometimes the expectation is just not realistic. Like sometimes people just don't understand how that feature works, and that just means that the feature is either poorly documented or it may be just a missing feature and not actually a bug at all. So there's a lot of triaging that needs to happen, yeah. It's, Godot is a system for people to make software in, right? So there is like so many different opinions and ways you could approach something, and sometimes it's just a matter of telling someone, oh, like we have 3 different ways of doing this and we really don't want to add a 4th. Sometimes it is just, and of course, frequently it is just a bug, right? Like we definitely have bugs. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Does the team ever get together? You know, in the Godot world, they have this thing where there's an annual conference for users, which is fine, but there's also dedicated days for the teams to get together and to work in different areas. And some of it, you know, some of it is engineering, but some of it is like policies that affect like usability. So, you know, had a very debated UI for many years, and it's, you know, some of these groups sometimes, you know,
I use it right now.
But yeah, but the idea is that you get these people to get together and work in a coherent vision and kind of triage the main topics from the main. And I don't think that Godot has something.
We do have that actually.
You do have a,
yeah.
Oh.
So the question is there any like developer-specific meetups? And whenever we do the European GodotCon, specifically, before that we have 1 or 2 days that we call the Godot Sprint. And that is specifically for developers of the engine and not the users of the engine. Of course, if you're a user and you want to go, you're allowed to come. But that is specifically billed as this is the developers navel gazing about themselves and not others. Yes, please. Oh, there are online meetings, yeah. So there are also online meetings that occur. That is organized by whoever owns that particular area of the engine. So not every area of the engine has regular meetings, and the regularity of the meetings per area is also not the same. So for instance, for the core meetings, which is mostly basically the Godot STL equivalent, we have a meeting every week on Wednesdays. The rendering people also tend to have weekly meetings. I think the physics people have about a monthly meeting, and there's like several things like that. So the best way of figuring out where that is to come back to the Godot contributor chat that I talked earlier about, and find the area that you care about, and see where or if those meetings exist. Because they don't exist for every section. Like I said, it's various engine subsystems are maintained by different groups, and there's not like an overarching thing that says you must have a weekly meeting or whatever. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you use AI to make that?
We do not use AI for anything internally, no. The only AI use we allow right now is, I believe, for translation for people who don't speak English. Other than that, there's no AI use, no.
So one of the things that's really impressive about Godot is the documentation. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to contribute to that? How difficult is it to get into that?
So how do you contribute to documentation? So documentation is actually a separate project in GitHub. Let me pull it up for you. So we have the Godot docs repository. So this is where all of the documentation for the engine lives. So for instance, we have the classes, and every individual class will have its own. Let me find like an easy one.
Is Sphinx?
I don't know. I think so, yes. So this is the restructured text for this particular class, and this is what ends up on the docs.godotengine.org. There's a synchronization that happens between the main source code and this. So there's like it is half developed here and half developed in the main source code. As far as how easy it is to get going, if you don't have a lot of coding experience, and this is definitely by far the easiest place to get going. If you're interested, definitely go to the Godot contributor chat and go to the documentation channel. And we're always looking for people to improve the docs. A lot of people have told us that like Godot docs is like one of the things that really attracted them to the engine. So we're super happy with anyone that is interested in working and helping with that. Any other questions?
So I'm sure the logistics of maintaining a full project of this size took time to build. Was there a point in time where there was just exponentially more eyeballs on the project where you had to scale this up? Or could you talk through that process of a bunch of contributors, a bunch of issues flooding in?
Yeah, well, that started about 6 years ago and never stopped. So how do you scale that? Slowly and poorly is the answer, really. So the main thing we've done as sort of like as a group is that we put together a legal entity in the form of the foundation. So we got some money in and we could hire people to do some of the work that just needs to happen all the time, every day, and is a little bit more thankless and a little bit less glamorous than actually like writing code, right? So we have people hired that whose only job it is to go through the new bugs that come into the come into the tracker, make sure that they get triaged correctly, make sure that they have the correct tags, ask follow-up questions if necessary, close things that are either duplicates or spam, because the amount of spam on GitHub has also grown exponentially, sadly. So we like the part of the donations go to things that are exactly that, the kind of growing pain type things. It is, however, also true that the more people use it, the more this grows, and it is almost impossible to like keep up with everything all the time. Like we do our best, but in the end, like there are 15,000 open issues, right? And not all of these are actually bugs. Some of these are like documentation issues. Some of these are wish lists. Like some of it is like, oh, I wish I could like, I don't know, import this Quake 3 model without whatever, right? So the importance of these issues varies widely. But as far as like scaling it goes, it is difficult. It is genuinely difficult, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to give this talk. Is there are things that you can do just as a non-programmer user to make this easier. Like better bugs are almost a thing. Like if there's one thing you're gonna actually actively do, if you have a bug in the engine, spend like the 20 minutes it takes to go to the issue tracker and fill out this, of course, annoyingly long, annoyingly form. Because the better those issues are, the easier they are to fix, the faster we can fix them, and the faster your problem is gonna get fixed, right? So that is one thing you can personally do to help sort of like scale the problem, is just making sure that we have high quality information. Anything else? Yes.
So if I understand correctly, maybe one bottleneck in the process is having enough people to review pull requests. Is that a good point of entry for somebody who's comfortable with C++? But maybe a little bit, less confident delving into actually modifying code themselves, or?
I would say that that is a thing that you should definitely come to the contributor chat for, because we've had in the past problems whereby newer people came in to try to do that, but they're not actually that familiar with the kinds of things we're looking for. And then you run the risk of accidentally telling someone to do the wrong thing, and then now there's two people being like slightly annoyed, right? That is a super valuable thing that we absolutely want people to do. But I would caution you to not just go onto the GitHub and start reviewing people's PRs. There is like a...
Is there a well-documented protocol for that? Or?
That is a good question that I probably should have the answer to, but I do not. Sorry.
No problem. I can find the chat. So.
Yeah, no, go to the chat, and I think you'll want the... would it be the release? No. Probably just the devel channel. There's like a channel called devel, and I think if you say I want to start doing some PR triaging, somebody will definitely come and help you with that. Thank you for offering. Anything else? All right, in that case, I want to thank you for your attention, and I hope this was useful. And enjoy tomorrow's day as well.